Greetings, YouTube. One of the things that the Republicans love to do is claim voter fraud. Now, we have cast millions and millions, tens of millions of votes in America that were completely and utterly secure and correct. There have been a handful of legitimate voter fraud cases. A handful. Never enough to throw anything anywhere. Okay? Our system of democracy is quite secure and doesn't need the suppression and laws that the Republicans are currently putting in place, because they know in a free and fair election where everyone could get to vote the way they should, the Republican Party would lose again and again and again. That's why they fear turning D.C. into a state, because they know that it would go Democrat and they then would lose the power of balance in Washington forever. So they love to talk about voter fraud, even though it doesn't exist in a method, or in any way that could affect an election. But recently, there was a case where a dead woman received a mail-in ballot, and the ballot was cast, uh, filled out, and sent in. And her husband was incredulous about this. How did this happen? How did a vote get placed into the voting system, into the actual voters, into the whole voting process in the name of his dead wife? And he was utterly and absolutely like, I just can't believe this happened. How did this happen? Well, they've solved the mystery of how it happened. And it happened because he himself placed that mail-in ballot into the system. He filled it out in the name of his dead wife, and then he mailed it in. And then he used that as evidence that the system was broken, because he broke the law. And the fact that he broke a law that existed and he was caught shows that the system actually works. But that's the Republicans' favorite thing to do. They'll break something and then use that as evidence that the system is broken. So they will then create restrictive laws to fix the system in their favor. Uh, they like to do that. They like to wander around with a sledgehammer and break as many things as possible, then blame the Democrats for the fact that something is broken, and then try to pass laws to fix the problem. And then again, it helps them and it hurts the rest of us. So this is a case where a Republican cast a vote illegally and then claimed that that was the sign that the system didn't work, even though he was the person that broke the law. Yeah. Um, they do this all the time. And it's infuriating. And Democrats don't call them out enough. Thankfully, CNN has here. I'll be linking an article to that, to this video. But it doesn't happen often enough, and it should. And we need to make sure that everyone out there understands that the Republican Party is a terrorist organization whose goal is to destroy our country and democracy and put as much power into the hands of a bunch of billionaires, a very small bunch of billionaires, essentially 400 people. In fact, 8 of them have more wealth than the bottom 40% of humanity. And that's the goal of the Republican Party. They're not your friend. They are not going to help the economy. They are not going to help you get jobs. They're going to destroy things. And historically, under Republican administrations, our economy suffers while the billionaires get to be bigger billionaires. Under the Democratic presidencies, the economy has always done better. Go look at the facts. But that's something that most Republicans aren't good at. There are 2 kinds of Republicans in the universe. There are billionaires, and then there are chumps. Look in your wallet, and you'll figure out which one you are. Okay? So, in closing, the Republicans break things and then blame others for it to create restrictive laws. And there was a case of voter fraud that I'm talking about right here, and I'll link, and it was committed by a Republican so he could make the system look broken. So whenever a Republican says something about voter fraud, you can tell them right in their face, look them right in the eye and tell them, just you can just fuck right off.